Mr. Chauhan.
Hello, Puneet. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to my show, Valor and Wisdom. My name is Puneet Singh Mehra, and today we have a special guest, Mr. Jay Chauhan, who is the author of Loving the Empire. Mr. Chauhan, you look
Yes.
handsome. You look handsome, huh?
You're the young, handsome man, Puneet. I'm getting
Thank-
old, actually, but I want to remember our history. I want
that
to,
is true.
I want to understand about today's episode, and I want you to inspire the young generation of India.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Chauhan. So, to all my viewers, today again I'm going to tell you a history, a story which was buried for a long period of time. And especially to all the Indians, you have to understand why your history was so buried because of two people. The first one is this, the Romila Thapar, and the second one is Irfan Habib. These two people, they only glorify the Mughals and British. That's it. So that's why you don't have your heroes like your Hindus, the Sikh, the Rajput, Marathas, Parsis, Jews who fought against all those invaders because of these two people, not because of India. So today again, I'm going to tell you the valor of the Marathas. And we already discussed about the Marathas in the previous, like the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, who founded the Marathas. So basically, when we say 300, people only know about the war between the Spartans and the Persian, where 300 Spartans fought against 7,000 Persians. But this one is slightly more ultimate than that battle. So what happened in those days? India was suffering from the tyranny of the Mughals. Mughals trying to kill every one of them. Either you convert, either you pay jizya tax, or you die. So what happened in 1650? This is the story of valor of a Maratha. In 1650, Baji Prabhu Deshpande was born. And by the young age, Baji Prabhu Deshpande has a martial spirit in him. And he was 15 years older than the Shivaji Maharaj. The rise of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj gave Baji Prabhu Deshpande the opportunity he was seeking. In 1616, during these days, the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and his men had based themselves in a Panhala fort. When the Mughal army of Adil Shah came to know about this part, he immediately attacked on that fort under the commandership of Siddhi Johar. All attempts to raise the siege were foiled. Even Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj with the commander Netaji Palkar could not break through the siege from outside. Hence, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj decided to give a final battle. But instead of suicidal attack, he followed a different strategy. So what Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj did, a grand escape was planned to give a battle from the fort of Vishalgarh. On a stormy full moon night of Guru Purnima and Arshad Purnima, a band of 600 selected men led by Baji Prabhu and Chhatrapati Shivaji broke through the siege. They split up into two groups. Still, getting through the siege of about 10,000 Adil Shah soldiers seemed impossible. So Mughals came with the 10,000 soldiers to destroy and to kill Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. What happened? A 4,000 plus strong Mughal army chased while Shivaji Maharaj and his men had already set up an electrifying pace on their horses. The Maratha warrior drove through the rainy night. The horse had reached to their exhaustion point. They literally sweat everywhere. And finally, they reached to the Godkund Pass, which today we know as a Pawan King by Shivaji Maharaj. So on that area in Godkund Pass, there was a narrow opening which could let only a few men at a time. So this is where the battle started, the Battle of Pawan King. This is where the legend began, and Baji Prabhu Deshpande volunteered to hold the pursuing Mughals at the pass with a select band of some 300 Marathas. so that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj could proceed on the safety of the Vishalgarh fort. It was agreed that 3 cannon shots would be fired as a signal to Baji and his men that Shivaji Maharaj and his group had reached to their destination safe and sound. And here at Pawan Khind, or you can say the Ghor King, the brave Maratha fought like a caged tiger to their fabulous war cry, Har Har Mahadev, where Baji Prabhu Deshpande and 300 Marathas fought against 1,000 Mughals. It was a bloody battle by all account. Baji and his men were vastly outnumbered, almost 1 to 100 ratio by the hysterical Mughals baying for their blood. But Baji Prabhu in the vanguard was like a granite boulder. Baji Prabhu, wielding 2 huge and very heavy swords, one in each hand, he almost single-handedly repulsed the waves, using his body as wall to prevent the Mughals from getting through. But for that, Baji Prabhu paid a heavy price. Very soon, Baji Prabhu Deshpande's body was crisscrossed by grave injuries, sword cut, spear thrust, and bullet hit to Baji Prabhu Deshpande. At times, it seemed that he would buckle up in the injuries and pass out. But as Maratha, iron will summon from his very depth of his soul. He stood firm and keep on fighting. Baji would not quit till he had the last cannon heard. When Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj approached Vishalgarh with 300 Maratha soldiers, he much awaited cannon shot boomed with the distance of Vishalgarh. It was almost dawn when Baji was still on his feet, but barely and too in mortal danger because of his wounds. With another cry of Har Har Mahadev, Baji men passed, carrying the wounded leader with them. And then the valiant Baji Prabhu Deshpande got martyred with a smile on his face, secure in the knowledge that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had reached Vishalgarh, and in the process forever glorifying the annals of Maratha's history and the Hindu Bharat. When Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj get to know about this part, his heart felt very heavy. So in honor of Baji, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj renamed the Ghor Khind Pass as the Pawan Khind. Pavan means pure, purified by the blood of this great Maratha warrior. For the rest of his life, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj would also act as a guardian of Baji children. So this is the story of Baji Prabhu Deshpande and the Maratha warrior. The 300 Maratha warrior who fought against the Mughals day and night, and none of the Mughals crossed that line. This is the location where all the Maratha warriors and especially Baji Prabhu Deshpande got martyred. So this is the untold story of Maratha warriors who protected the Sanatan Dharma. Not only Sanatan Dharma, all the religions who lives in India. So this was the untold story. And this story was buried. Even it shows that 300 Maratha warriors fought against 10,000 Mughals. So Mr. Chauhan, what do you think about that part of history?
I'm inspired, Puneet, actually, that you have dug out this history. And so I'm going to respond to what you say in terms of my thought on history. See, I was born in an Indian family in East Africa, in Dar es Salaam in particular.
Yes.
And we didn't have, there was a British rule at that time. I was born in the war period. And then East Africa, Tanganyika became independent in 1962. So I want to tell you my personal story and how I interpret your history. So I'm born as an Indian in the East African soil as a British subject because the British actually ruled East Africa and we had a right of nationality in the British colonies. So when I did study in Berlin economics, and I looked for a job with my master's degree in Dar es Salaam, and the Ministry of Agriculture offered me a job, but said to me at that time, when the country was independent, that you have to do a 2-year contract like a foreigner. So the message of that incident is that even though I was born in Africa, raised in East Africa in Tanganyika, I was perceived as an Indian. So what has happened in the world history is that we are perceived as Indian people. You from the North India, my ancestors come from the west part of India, and then we have not been able to see ourselves as one group of people. And that has resulted in India being subjugated by the Mughal and the British years. So our industrialization and our opportunity to industrialize and compete with the rest of the world was denied. And we prefer in the Sanatana Dharma, as you call it, is the Hindu tradition, actually. It's a tradition more than a religion in the traditional sense.
Yes, more than science.
Yes. And I think many people misunderstand that, actually. They think that the symbolic gods are the part of the Hindu religion. This symbolism is misinterpreted by many other religions as well as people. So
Yes.
I think our mistake in history has been that we had the courage that the Marathas showed. Enormous courage, 300 people fighting 10,000 Mughals in
Yes.
the time. And the Mughals were outsiders who came to India, to the Khyber
Yeah.
Pass. And you have to keep in mind that when the naval shipping and the Navy, or the British Navy became, more powerful after the Trafalgar War near Spain, when they defeated the French and the Spanish, they came into Indian Ocean and then settled around the Cape of Good Hope in India through the Mumbai area. There is a hotel constructed, and many came there and they ruled the country. And we talked about the 1857 war. So I think all this translates into what has happened to the Indian history in the last 1,000 years. And as you pointed out, that the history has been misinterpreted. But one of the mistakes that we have done, we should be willing to acknowledge that. That's why I congratulate you that you're digging out the history. That
Thank
if
you.
other people did not do the history, our professors in India did not touch over the proper history of India, then we are making a small effort to let them know that we want to dig out the right side of history and let the world know what we think about Indian history. And I think with that history, we want to inspire the Indian population that we had a very important role to play in the world history, from the science, literature, arts, medicine, and I discovered yesterday also that the veterinarian science was started in India, actually. And,
Yes.
and we should do one seminar on it. On a personal level, I think in our own family, we have, I think some of my cousins married even Marathas, actually, and they, I think one of them is a member of our family, and I'm very proud of that. And then you have illustrated to me the history of Shivaji, and now today other history of Marathas, what they have done in the Indian history. But I think we should learn from what has happened, and it is important that we understand that in the way the world is organized, that I became a Canadian citizen after British subject, but even then, when I sit there and you look at me and I look at them, I'm still perceived as an Indian. So it is important for us to recognize that our development and our image in the rest of the world is going to be perceived by the way we look and who we were, even though our technical nationality may be English, Indian, or even Canadian, actually. So we are therefore identified as Canadian Indians in this country, and what we do and what we achieve affects other people who are seen also as Indian people. So if you read my novel that you raised in the beginning, I think that is the point I tried to make, that our challenge that we are facing is to make our mark in the world history, not only try to remember the history, but what do we need to do to correct our mistake that we made. And the mistakes we made are misunderstanding our identity and our courage that we had to be brought back to us so that we can achieve now in the current century with the ability that we have. And I think in terms of the ability we had, that we discussed 1,000 years of history, which actually brought us down by the outsiders. But it's very important to recognize, and it is important for the Indian people to recognize, that we should never allow the outsiders to rule the country. And for that reason, I think if you look at the military history currently in India, that they've built up 1.4 million soldiers who bear arms. It's the second biggest military army by numerical numbers. That means, in terms of nuclear power, that India is one of the roughly six announced nuclear powers. There are a couple of more who do not want to say they have nuclear weapons, but they probably have it.
Yeah.
And there are 1,800 aircraft and over 4,000 tanks. So it is not going to be possible in the modern world for anybody to walk into India. But India, in the time of, I think, especially Narendra Modi, has recognized that our common identity has to be enhanced, and then our economic development, which we were not allowed to do by the British in India, must now be carried out so that we have the economy that can support the army, and our development should continue so that we can compete as equal citizens in the rest of the world. That's my response to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mr. John. And to every Sanatan Dharma, you have to understand your Dharma, what your Dharma says. And even the Bhagavad Gita says, Sanatan, you are the son of lions. Okay, Mr. Chauhan, take care. See ya.
Thank you, Puneet. It was great.